Happy Memorial Day weekend! Grab your coffee! This is COFOH Live Undead. I am your host, Daniel Crosier, and I am joined by the amazing Adam Dougherty of KreatureKid.
You write something on my face.
Adam,
Hey.
how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good. Good to have you on the show again.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Adam, KreatureKid never fails to astound me. All the cool things that you've been working on, the Onyx film, some of your own shorts, and now you've got your own your newest short, Jungle of Darkness. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So after we finished the Onyx the Fortuitous movie, I'm trying to establish the KreatureKid shop here in Colorado as not just a practical effects shop for movies and creature designs, but also as a house that also can do storytelling and filmmaking and stuff like that.
Nice.
So this is a project I've been working on for the past 5-6 years now, and it's finally we're in a space where we could shoot it all here. I have the talent here to help me with it, and the story has gotten pretty locked down to where I'm really happy, and it's a cute little story I really want to share. So I had to force myself to finally gain up the courage to actually launch a Kickstarter and to try to ask for help to try to make this happen, because it is too grand for just me on my own. Being a period jungle adventure short film that's filled with puppets and monsters and stuff. So it's a lot to undertake, but I think it's something that people need to, I think it's something that people would enjoy to see. And I think it's a world that people would like to visit and creatures they'd like to meet. So I'm really passionate about it, and hopefully it works out. We're getting close.
Yeah. On Kickstarter, for everybody that's tuning in, we've got the Kickstarter, URL. It's scrolling down below. So, if you can, go ahead and take a screenshot of that and go and pledge to Adam's, amazing project. And then of course we've got it in the comment section too, so you can grab it there as well. You've got so many amazing perks that come with it too. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so that's what's cool is it's very perk heavy on the Kickstarter, because everything we can make here in house. We're not outsourcing anything. Everything is being handmade, hand painted here. 3D printed, hand cast. It's all designed by us. And that's what's so cool about it is most Kickstarters are using what they're trying to raise the money for,
right,
to make the Kickstarter happen. We're trying to raise the money by selling the merch to then use that to fund the film.
Right.
So it's like we don't have a hard copy of the film that'll be available, because I believe in just I think the short film should just be put up online for free the moment it's done.
Okay.
So I'm basically just selling the merch for the film before the film's out to help fund the film. So we have prop replicas and toys and keychains, and it's all based on characters through this. So yeah, there's the Shrunken Head keychain set. There's the Puglu idol. That's like the main like Indiana Jones idol in the movie. So there's mini versions of that. There's large versions of that, and that's what's so cool too. Is there's small, affordable versions of everything, and then there's the large really hyper realistic versions of everything. So like these are the shrunken head keychains. That's blue.
Oh,
It's
those
blue
are
and
pretty
green.
cool.
So this is our Abbott and Costello in the film.
Nice.
And those are the keychains, and then this is the mini shrunken head. So this is like, you can see just size-wise the difference. And then there's the toy version, which is a bit bigger, and then there's the prop replica, which is big boy.
Wow.
So we're like having all these different sizes at different price ranges, and then also each one's a different sculpt, so they all look different. They're all made out of different materials. You know, the toy is squishy with real hair. The mini's plastic with plastic hair. The replica will be silicone with hand-punched hair and like glass eyes and stuff.
Nice.
So we're trying to like really push the products in this because that's my background, right? I'm a toy guy. I love the physical merch of it, but also I love seeing the story that's involved. And then hopefully if it does reach the goal, we also have a bunch of stretch goals where it's poster art and stuff. But one of the main things that I'm hoping we can try to get once I announce the stretch goals is if we get to 70,000, we're introducing Pink, who's the girl shrunken head. And
okay.
Pink would be in a keychain form. She'd be in a toy form. And then it's the kids' book prequel to the Jungle of Darkness film, which is about the three shrunken heads and then what happened to Pink, because Pink is missing. Yeah. So if we want to find out what happened to Pink, you have to read the kids' book, which kind of establishes how they ended up where they're at when we meet them in the short film.
Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. And you, for this project, you've assembled an array of talent too. Like an actor from the upcoming Rob Zombie's Munsters.
Yeah, Grandpa Munster himself. I mean, I haven't really wrangled anybody. All these people are friends of mine who've been friends of mine since I was a kid, really. Daniel Roebuck I've known since I was 12.
Really?
And he's been a best friend. He's been kind of like my father figure. When I moved out to LA when I was 21, he taught me how to parallel park so I can get ready for that.
Man,
I've known Dan forever, and he's also just the perfect person that I would want for our silly adventurer. And he's really excited to be a part of it, and he's been helping a ton. I'm just excited to finally work with him. I've never actually worked with him on a project before, so this will be the one. And then we also got some amazing voice actors and voice talent. Roger Jackson. I've known Roger for many years. After doing my Mojo Jojo sculpture, Roger reached out and we just hit it off because he's a horror fan. He's a film fanatic, and we just talk about art and films all the time. And I've always wanted to work with him, but I've just never, had the project yet where I've gone into dialogue and sounds and creatures and stuff. All my short films so far have just been music videos essentially. So now that I'm finally tackling something that's long, something that has dialogue and it's a film of its own, right? I'm pulling in all my voice actors and everybody I've always wanted to work with, but I've never had a project that I've been bold enough to ask for everyone's help.
Nice. It's pretty amazing. You also have
D. Bradley Baker. Dee's a wonderful man, a horror fanatic also.
Sweet.
And also a local Colorado guy. So I'm really excited for that. Because I've always wanted to work with Dee, and Dee's helped me out when I was a kid. Dee got me in for some job interviews at a place and stuff. Dee's really been a big believer in my projects and just a really kind person and a pug fan, which is perfect.
Nice.
And that's why we really got along.
It sounds like you've got an array of KreatureKid family just hopping on, participating in this. You've got some amazing puppeteers, giving you.
Yes, this is Corey and Ryan. These guys I've just recently met, and they're both local, amazing, talented puppeteers and puppet makers. And after seeing them, I had them over here for a rehearsal just to kind of see, because they're both friends, and I was just curious because they physically looked like how I wanted, right? Like one's tall and skinny, and one's like grumpy and short. And I was like, this kind of seems like it might work. So I had them put on. I think they brought some like boglins or something. Mm-hmm. As just like a test to like be like, can you guys do the banter? Can you do Laurel and Hardy or Abbott and Costello? And
Nice.
what is this? And figure out your voices. And then I was like, oh, this is it. That's perfect. Because they need to have the chemistry and they need to work together and they need to be, you can't have blue without green, and one's always pissed off and mean and one's always silly and funny. And then I just recently added that they do break out into a song at one point. So now they got to sing, and there will be a little musical number, which I'm really excited about.
Nice. And I think you've got a composer.
Yeah, Reed Willis. So Reed, I met a long time ago. I don't even know how I got familiar with his work, but his work, I think I just ran across him on Instagram way back in the day. But one of his songs is what gave me the concept for Pugloo. So I've always credited Reed as the inspiration for Pugloo. It was just listening to one of his songs, and I was kind of like, I was in the mood for a 60s piece. I missed my dog. And then I heard his song, and it was very like spacey and then childlike, and there's a story going on. And it just kind of planted the seed of me like building a structure around his audio, which just eventually evolved into Pugloo. So I always try to include Reed in anything I do, or Reed's music, because for any music to give me ideas like that, I think there's something there that's really special. So just having Reed involved is wonderful. I'm so excited to see what he can come up with.
Oh, man, that's fantastic. I think the last one that was featured on the Kickstarter.
Eric. Eric's a wonderful filmmaker. I just recently met him, local guy, friends of friends, and I see the passion and the creativity in being a filmmaker and working with cameras and finding the angles and stuff.
Nice.
And also just a very friendly person who's a horror fan. I mean, that's the main thing, right? It's horror fans who love horror movies and can critique new movies and see what's wrong and see what needs to change and what stylistically, film-wise made Sam Raimi's movies stand out and so unique than others, and kind of like exploring weird and bold camera movements. I really want to try. There's a specific shot in Army of Darkness I want to try to recreate, but in the jungle. And there's I don't know, I still cannot figure out what they did. I know there was moving set pieces in front of the camera as the camera's moving also, so it's like a weird. And I want to recreate that, but with like jungle branches, and you're zooming in on our adventure in the quicksand. But I just go, that's the whole point of this fundraiser is it's not just help me make this short film. It's help me explore, help me be able to pay my rent and have a group of artists here to explore how to create specific shots, each one using a different technique of practical effects. So like this shot where we want to zoom in on our adventurer stuck in quicksand, we need set pieces to move. How do we stage that? How do we set that up? How do we make our adventurer climb the side of a mountain volcano, right? How do we do that? And I just go, okay, so this scene's going to be a shadow puppet. This scene's going to be forced perspective. This is a full miniature scene. And it's just kind of like going down the list of here's our story, here's our storyboard, and here's each technique of practical effect we need to do to execute that shot. Every single one is a whole different setup, different camera tricks, which none of us have done before. But we're following in the footsteps of all these wonderful practical effects artists and what they've done, and we're just kind of like doing our research. Okay, this is a shadow puppet shot. What are some of the best shadow puppet scenes we've seen? How do they do it? How do you add, the depth to that? How do you make it so it doesn't just look like a cutout piece moving around? How do we light it? How do we smoke it? How do we make it look just right to look just like this storyboard illustration here that I did? And then get that shot and then move on, tear it down and move on to the next shot. All right. How do we make a boat approaching a volcano that's erupting? Let's start building a volcano. Let's do the boat. How do we get the boat to light up? How do we make it look like water that is moving and the boat's approaching, and shooting it in slow motion so the smoke is billowing, instead of just quickly moving and stuff. So it just sounds fun. It's mainly just trying to have fun and show people how we're tackling each task, because we're going to be sharing all the behind the scenes and how we're doing it and what's working and what's not working,
Yeah.
and share along the way. And also we're photographing it all. We'll have all the information in a book, which is the making of book, for like, here's how we did this miniature shot. Here's how we did, you know, our adventure walking up the beach with a little dinghy in the background with the ship way in the background. And how do we get that ship to look kind of hazy and distant?
Yeah.
And how do we get a dinghy on a beach? How do we make a beach? And then we're confining ourselves to only film in the shop. You know, we don't want to like go out to locations or rent a space,
Right.
because that's when stuff gets a little out of hand. Because then it just opens up to like, well, why don't we just shoot it in Hawaii? Because there's no money. So I like the confines of forced creativity in a specific, like, this is your boundaries. You have this room. Make a jungle adventure in this room. You know, using your imagination. What do you do? When there's a scene where we're looking, our adventurer looks up and he's looking at the sky. Okay, how do you do that? And for a second there, I was like, yeah, green screen. And then I was like, no, that defeats the whole point. You know, we do
practical, yeah.
Yeah, we do plants. Let's do a giant painting of a sky and put it up there.
Oh man, matte paintings would be amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, matte paintings. I was like, that looked beautiful. You know, why not? It'd work. You know, stage plays are some of my favorite things. And I just go, all that's painted backgrounds and stuff. You know, some of my favorite shots in Evil Deads are all just sets or miniature sets and stuff like that. And you know,
that sounds absolutely amazing. I can't wait to see that. And you know, for everybody that's out there, you know, where's a good place to find, you know, a lot of your work?
Well, it's all, I mean, KreatureKid with a K is all my social media on everything. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, it's all there. KreatureKid.com is the site. And then all the information and stuff is being updated on Kickstarter with you know, our pitch video, which shows all the work we're capable of doing, that we did for the Onyx movie. And then combining like what we did puppet wise with what we're trying to do practical wise in this jungle world. But I feel like looking at the Onyx stuff, you could see what we're capable of doing as far as executing talking shrunken heads and an island creature puppet. I'm just so excited about it all. I really think it's going to be something awesome, and I really hope people are interested and is curious to see this final product as I am. Because even I'm like, maybe that in my mind, I go, this shot's totally going to work. And then for all I know, I'm going to shoot it and be like, this looks like garbage. This looks like a tiny boat on a tiny island.
Yeah.
How do we make this look like this boat is, you know, 40 feet long? Or, you know, it's
right.
That's the fun of it, is experimenting and playing. Which any production that you get hired to do doesn't let you do anymore, right? You always have a few months to do this thing and that's it.
Right.
And miniatures, that's pretty much out of the question now, right? It's all just CG stuff. Puppets, okay, if you want the puppet feel, cool. But you know, no one goes all in for the practical, not anymore. There's always, they say it's practical, then they cheat a bunch and they just like, oh, that's practical, but we'll do this. We'll do, you know, this will be the CG stuff. It'll be easy.
They'll brush over on CG because like, oh, this feels too much like a puppet, or this feels, you know, not authentic enough or something. It's like, well, yeah, necessarily, you know, CG doesn't always make it feel authentic, you know. But, existing in the 3-dimensional that's well lit, you know, that lends itself to it.
Yeah, and even if it's not the best, the whole point of this short is experimenting and playing and going, okay, that worked, but it could have been better, so it'll be better for the next one. But we did it, and no one else would ever come to us to hire. Like, no one else would go and try to do that, right?
Right.
No short filmmaker is going to do a volcano island with a boat. Practical. It's just not going to happen. Because everyone thinks it's unobtainable because it's too expensive, it's too grand. And then I'm trying to just show, no, it's not. It just takes a ton of work and creativity to physically build this stuff.
Yeah, most definitely. You know, with that, you mentioned, you know, the Kickstarter video. I've got that, you know, on deck, loaded and ready to go. Should we go ahead and play that?
Yeah, go for it.
And show everybody, you know, the scale and scope of what you and KreatureKid are able to do.
I'm trying.
Here we go. Let's add that to the stream. Come on now. All right. Come on.
Hi, I'm Adam Dougherty. I'm a practical effects artist and character designer. I've been in the film and entertainment industry for the past 15 years, building all kinds of monsters for movies like Jurassic World 2 and the Annabelle franchise, as well as a ton of other stuff. On the side, I've been focusing on and building up my own company called KreatureKid. And through that, I've been exploring different storytelling and character designs of stuff that I've always wanted to see and I grew up with. I'm at a point to where I've established KreatureKid as a company here in Colorado, and we have got our first feature film under our belt, Onyx the Fortuitous and the Talisman of Souls, where we were in charge of designing and building all the practical effects as puppets, building ghouls and a giant 10-foot devil. We have established a group of artists here, and we're ready to explore our own storytelling now. So the feel for the short film is a dark horror 1930s jungle adventure. The Army of Darkness meets Labyrinth is what I'm trying to do for. And in this short film, we're experimenting with all kinds of different practical effects, using miniatures and forced perspective, Jim Henson-style puppets with talking shrunken heads, and an evil island creature, and our adventurer who's stuck in quicksand the entire time. Everything in the short film will be made practically. Everything will be built and constructed here in Colorado. We're looking to start building the sets and starting production in July with a release date of October. Throughout the months of building it and working on it, we're going to be showing and sharing the process and how we're doing it and how we're going about designing and building the sets. We're trying to also offer some awesome perks like shrunken head toys, replicas of the Puggloo idol, which is the main focal point of the short, shrunken versions of the Puggloo idol, as well as all kinds of other posters and prints and artwork and concept stuff that we've been working on for the past few years. So with your help, we can make Jungle of Darkness happen. Scroll down to look at all the awesome perks we're offering, as well as the talented people who are ready to go and help bring this project to life. Thanks so much for your support, and thanks for watching.
Okay, it's me, great explorer, Professor Sheridan, and I'm up in a tree here in the Jungle of Darkness. Because there seems to be some lions of darkness down there, and they want to kill me. But I will find the golden idol of Puggloo, but I can't do it without your help. So join me. Join me. Join me on Kickstarter. KreatureKid's wonderful campaign. If you don't join me, you'll never know what happens on the Jungle of Darkness. Oh no. I'm losing my grip. Oh dear.
So silly.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh,
Yeah.
so fun.
So yeah, I'm just trying to make it fun and silly, and I mean that's the best kind of story for me, I think, is I'm just, just trying to make it fun and an adventure in this weird world where it's just puppets and monsters, and I'm not trying to like break new grounds with a story that's like mind-blowing. I mean, I know as well as any story that I am ripping off the best stuff, right? And going Indiana Jones. I mean, my Golden Idol is a pug joke version of the Golden Idol from Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's very never-ending story, the labyrinth, but it's all just stuff in an environment we haven't seen before. And I'm mainly just trying to introduce the world and the characters I can create with a decent story that's like interesting and cute, hopefully. And I want it to kind of feel like, oh, this is great. This is kind of like I've seen this before, but it's like I haven't seen this in so long.
Yeah.
And I've never been to this type of jungle before, you know? I don't know. It just seems fun because
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lack of jungle adventures nowadays that are good and spooky.
Right.
You know?
Right. I think that's what I like about your work. It's so practical. It's so tangible. You know, it kind of harkens back to my childhood, growing up with, you know, Labyrinth and Jim Henson films, and as well as the Evil Dead movies and everything. And of course, you know, Raiders of the Lost Ark. These were all pivotal, you know, in forming my childhood. And I think that's what really appeals to me. And I think that really does appeal to a large audience out there that just haven't discovered KreatureKid and all the cool things that you guys do.
Yeah, and I'm also trying to. I mean, I've been digging out the stuff that's inspired me beyond just films, because I know a lot of filmmakers and like a lot of filmmakers and artists always go, I was inspired by that movie and this movie.
Yeah.
But that's part of a big thing of mine is I'm inspired by, like, this is an example of some of the books I grew up reading when I was a kid. These were some choose your own adventure books from the 90s, The Jungle Apparel and The Island of Horror, the most beautiful artwork. And I just remember as a kid just being immersed in, like, turn to page this to go down that way, or this to start over, you know? And then I even dug this one out from when I was like a little kid. I remember getting this for like a birthday and going, this is the greatest game ever. And I played it all the time. And then I just remember being like amazed at the artwork as a kid and just like looking at it and being like, I wish I was there.
Right.
And I found out as an adult, that's Drew Struzan. And I was like, this is no wonder it's amazing. And it just makes your imagination go wild because it's the master doing his work. And then it's just this kind of stuff. As kids, we are taught about adventures in the jungles and stuff like that. And I mean, just the fact that they hired this brilliant, amazing artist to do the box of a kid's game is ridiculous and mind-blowing.
Yeah. Yeah. Drew Struzan is that legendary, movie poster, artist from the 70s and 80s and into the 90s. He still works. He works on a lot of amazing fine art pieces nowadays. Yeah.
It's crazy. I wish I had my gorilla. It's in the other room.
My
gorilla Mighty Max toy, which is like, it's a gorilla head and you open it up and there's a little I mean, I don't know if anybody remembers Mighty Max. I'm obsessed with them. I have the full collection and all this stuff, but it's basically, it was Polly Pockets for boys. And it's a horror. Each one was a horror head. They were called horror heads.
Okay.
And each one was a different, they had a Frankenstein's laboratory and a skull, but they had one that was a gorilla, and you'd open it up and it's this whole jungle adventure with little heads on pikes and bodies everywhere and a cauldron with skeletons inside. So it was like dark and spooky, but it was advertised to like 6-year-olds. And I remember playing with that as a kid, getting like, and I remember vividly my imagination playing with this little tiny world in my hands and thinking it was the greatest thing ever. So I'm obsessed with Mighty Max. And like, that's part of, like, I'm not just influenced by, I mean, I'm influenced by, what puppets did and what Jim Henson did and stuff, but I'm heavily influenced by toys. And that's why it's so heavy on, the kids book reward and the shrunken head toys and the keychains, is because that was my world, was the physical playing with things. And that's how I escaped, was that, or the kids book or the games and stuff like that. So it's very inspired by that stuff. That's my favorite stuff.
Nice. That's awesome. We've got a couple people chiming in. Colorado Festival of Horror. Hey, I know that guy.
Hey,
That's either Brian or Brett. You know, it's probably Brian. I think Brian Bonner might have interviewed you.
oh, okay,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
And then Angela, says hello. She's a local film producer.
Hey, Angela.
Does a lot of horror movies and fundraising for horror movies on crowdfunding sites too.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like Indiegogo. So
that's so cool.
Yeah. I'm always, like I said, I'm enamored in your work and work, the design and the look of things. You've got such a whimsical approach to your work. How did you end up on your style?
Well, I mean, as you can see, as I just showed, right, everything I do is inspired by my childhood and that's where I think all my influence and style came from, is just the weird stuff they were giving us back in the 90s. And I got all the hand-me-down toys from my brother who had all the stuff in the 80s, which was even weirder.
Yeah.
But there's 1,000% a lack of creativity in the stuff that we're introducing to kids, I think. Nowadays, books, toys, movies, it's all that's what's so weird is it's all these filmmakers and stuff are all harkening back to their childhood. So everything, like even the new Stranger Things, I don't know if you started it yet. It's the Nightmare on Elm Street. They're just ripping it and they're purposely telling you, they're like, look it's that's that scene again. And I'm just going, why do we keep doing the same thing over and over, to where now the kids nowadays are just getting the rehashed crap of what we grew up with, which was original and new and interesting and bold. And I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm trying to take the influences that I had as a kid, but instead of just rehashing it and like packaging it,
just repackaging it.
Yeah, I'm trying to like create new characters and new worlds and new stories that are weird. And then also, I mean, obviously everything I do, I intentionally do for kids. I'm all about showing stuff with kids. I'm not into gore.
Mm-hmm.
Everything I do is very whimsical and fantasy like.
Yeah.
Even the stuff for the Onyx movies, you could see, is all they're like cartoon characters brought to life.
Right.
And that's what I'm trying to do with this is that cartoon childlike version of a fantasy jungle horror adventure, with creepy puppets that freak you out as a kid, and a weird version, a twisted version of a jungle that's not just a CG jungle cruise movie that's not fun or adventurous or whimsical at all.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to show that, and that's part of the reason why it's a short, is I'm just trying to show this is what I'm capable of doing at a very low budget for just a short amount of time. Obviously I can't afford to do a feature and show this entire world. I'm just trying to show examples, and hopefully if this works, I'll try another crowdfunder and try to do another thing that's a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But I just want to show glimpses into the worlds that I envision and that I want to try to bring, and the characters I want to try to bring, even if it's just for a minute. You meet this character or you see this little stop motion thing run by the screen. Just show examples of what I'm capable of doing, and then just hope someone comes knocking and this is wonderful and unique, and would you like to do something bigger? Here's a check and a golden ticket. So
yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. And for those of you out there, Adam, you did a mixture of stop motion and live action, short film, a few years ago. Yeah, can you talk a little bit about that and your experience?
Yeah.
How you're applying that to the new film?
Yeah, so that was Puglu from Planet P. I mean, that's what each of these films are supposed to be. It's supposed to be really just a study for myself, forcing myself to explore how to work a camera, how to edit a film, and then how to do a different type of practical effect that I've always wanted to do that I'll never have the opportunity to do. So the first short film I did was a water tank puppet, something I've always wanted to try, and it was beautiful and it was so much fun. And I learned a bunch of like what I did wrong and what looked good and how to work a camera and how to use Final Cut and just basically how to tell a story to a song. And then the next one was the 1960s space adventure where a kid is playing with his dog and he's imagining himself as a spaceman fighting a giant pug monster. So that was my exploration into Harryhausen style puppetry and how to build a puppet, how to build a stop motion character and work a stop motion program and then comping stuff in and playing with that. So that was kind of the experiment for that. And then the jungle was always supposed to be my experiment into Jim Henson style puppetry. How does that work? How do I make this work? How do I make animatronic eyes work? But as it's kind of progressed and the story's gone further, it's combining. I do want to have stop motion in there. I do want to have, I kind of want to pull every trick out of the book that I've always wanted to do, and make it a weird, like if Labyrinth also had some stop motion stuff and, kind of like just weird aspects of like the Seventh Voyage meets Labyrinth meets like Army of Darkness, because there was some wonderful, and that's Army of Darkness is probably one of the closest examples, hence why the movie's called Jungle of Darkness. Is I was just like, I love Army of Darkness. What if that was in the jungle?
Yeah.
Because that movie had puppets, forced perspective, a ton of stop motion. It's pretty mind-boggling on every single technique was used in that movie. It really was. Like little ashes running around on a giant set with a huge fork. That's the coolest thing ever. That's what I've always wanted. Like the troll scene in Cat's Eye is one of my favorite scenes in a movie because I love the concept of a dude in a suit running around a giant set that looks like an oversized kid's room.
Right.
With a giant jar of marbles and climbing up a huge pole, a bird cage. It's the silliest, coolest thing, and they don't do it in movies anymore. I don't know why. Or like the gate with the forced perspective stuff done on the gate with a bunch of guys dressed as minions, running around in a set, and then the actors up on scaffolding, right in front of the camera. It's the coolest stuff ever. Even the gate, there was stop motion in there. There was the forced perspective. There was the oversized pant legs that they're sitting there pulling on.
I remember that film. That was awesome.
Yeah, they had everything. But like Army of Darkness brought you into that world to where it's like it's a period thing, but also it's not because it's so whimsical and like a fantasy land. Yeah. So it's like combining medieval times with like this weird world of fantasy where it feels like it was like an adventure book. So I'm trying to, that's why it's called Jungle of Darkness, is because I was like, God, I would love to see Sam Raimi back when he was bold and doing weird crap, do a jungle horror. It'd just be so wild. So that's pretty much what this is trying to do is help me get the money to show you 15 minutes of what that would have looked like.
Yeah.
And what that could have been like.
That sounds absolutely, fantastic. And for those of you out there that might not be familiar with like something like Sam Raimi is doing, he just did the new Doctor Strange movie that's in theaters now. And
Sam Raimi's a sellout now.
But still some of his go-to tricks are in there with the camera movements and everything, even though it's very CG heavy.
Yeah.
But you're trying to do a lot of that with practical, which is incredible undertaking. And for those of you that really like that tangible approach, that everything feels good. The other thing too is the performances become more authentic with working with the puppeteers and the actors in front of the camera, because there's stuff to act, to bounce off of, not just a green screen or anything like that.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's like as much as I love Sam Raimi's work, obviously I mainly just lean towards his early stuff when he was forced to only have practical because that was the only option.
Right.
And I think a lot of filmmakers just go, you know, it wastes time, it takes forever. It's usually one-shot takes for a lot of stuff. And it's just so much easier, right? I could tell my stories. It's so much easier with this and that. But I think that's why, you know, at least coming from a practical effects background and being that guy who did all the stuff and then trying to be a filmmaker, I can go, no, that stuff is what's important. And that stuff is what makes the movie good.
Yeah.
The one take stuff that works or might not work, or it works, but then it looked funny. You see the tubes and stuff. That's why all these horror fans love those movies. And that's why all of these filmmakers go, those movies were my favorite movies, but then they're too scared to go, okay, well, let's do it that way. Because they think it's going to be too time consuming, cost too much money, and are nervous about only one takes or something, you know, something going wrong. And we're on a budget, we're burning through money. And this whole like race to where the movie has to be filmed in 3 weeks. And you go, okay, that's fine. But it's just like, I don't know. There's just a weird, like filmmaking's just gotten to a weird point to where you're just churning out content instead of thinking about the quality and what will actually stick with people and why we love those movies. So granted, it's probably very impractical to try to be a filmmaker in that sense. But, you know, that's why I think in shorts, it's the way to go, because a short, less time consuming. Granted, 15 minutes will take a lot of time, but I feel like I could, I mean, just as a pompous, as a pompous, big-headed artist, I feel like I could make a better jungle adventure in 15 minutes than what Disney did with $1 billion in a Jungle Cruise movie.
Yeah, with the Jungle Cruise film. Yeah.
Yeah, which is the biggest piece of garbage I've ever seen in my life. And I just want to show that this is what it should be. This is what it should be: creativity and fun, and a bunch of kids learning how to do stuff and exploring characters and things, and not $1 billion and doing a boat in front of a green screen for 2 weeks.
Right.
It's just, I don't know. I don't really. It's hard for me to comprehend how movies have gotten to be this way, but yet everybody keeps saying, "I love." In the 80s is the peak, right? That's where it was at.
Right. Yeah. It seems like that time period just had hit like some of just wave where all these amazing filmmakers, directors, and special effects people and actors could kind of coalesce and bring forth amazing creativity and original storytelling and really just tap into what film goers really liked. And,
even the marketing for this Stranger Things season 4. I'm just saying it because I'm watching it right now, and I saw the articles. This villain is practical. We're doing him practical, and I watch it and I go, that's they win over him 1,000 times with CG. It's all CG proven. His whole hand is CG, and I'm going, why didn't you just why are you trying to sell practical when you just go over CG? That's not practical. The whole point is that it's practical. Right. And it's like they're all too scared, or they're like, oh, it looks a little funky. It looks like a dude in a suit. Well, that's the whole point. And I don't know. I don't know why. Why bother saying it's practical when it's covered up, and it's it just doesn't make sense.
And like those organics approaches, because I think I know the character that you're talking about. I think I watched 1 or 2 episodes the other night. I was pretty sleepy, so it's kind of waving in and out. But yeah, there's a lot of CG and everything. But you harken back to the 80s and you think on films like The Thing, John Carpenter's thing, where they made all these organic things work that you wouldn't think back then in practical effects would actually work, but oh my god, it did. And it's like it would be fun to see that applied in more modern capacity. Movies like The Void, which really was pretty focused pretty heavy on practical effects, and it's a creepy as hell horror movie. But the creature work in there is just amazing. So I think there's definitely a bit of a renaissance happening with people wanting to work with more practical, and there are a lot of mostly independent films that are focusing on that aspect. And I think what you guys are doing at KreatureKid is one, it's one of those creative houses that the work that you're putting out really needs to be celebrated for that.
I sure hope so, and I hope it turns out good. Because if it turns out bad, then I'm just gonna put my foot in my mouth. But
you guys are so talented over there. I like that you're being humble, but the stuff that comes out of your shop is absolutely astounding.
Thank you. I just want to show that practical should just be practical. And when I say I want to make a practical short, I'm not saying I want to use some practical aspects, but we're going to comp it all in, and we're going to friggin' green screen the sky and have miniatures on green screen. Yeah, I just it just defeats the entire purpose of practical. So I'm just trying to show, and even if it's silly and it's a struggle and it's pointless, I just want to show that it is capable, and I keep mentioning for this Kickstarter, and what I'm trying to do as a company is George Millier, on how he took us to the moon in a glass building, essentially, and using wood and paint and imagination. And no one's doing that anymore when the technology's there, besides just putting people in a room full of green screen and doing it in a computer, which just seems silly. It just seems stupid. So that's what I'm trying to do with KreatureKid. Is, granted, we're a practical effects shop. We're making toys, we're making products, but also we're making worlds and taking you to places that you never thought you could see in one room, practically, with plants, with painted backgrounds, with puppets, and just bring it back to just the fun of that, And as silly as it looked when they're wheeling in backdrops and stuff, or sets are moving, or the giant bullet to the moon is just a giant, goofy painting, it worked, and it was beautiful, and it was magical. And you can look back and go, oh, that's how he did it. But I've yet to see a filmmaker do that kind of execution, in a short film or a fan film or anything. So I just kind of want to show that again and try to just bring the magic back, basically.
No, we wish you all the best, and for everybody that's tuning in, make sure you go to the KreatureKid Kickstarter. The link is scrolling right by down below. It's also in the comment section. So go and support Adam Dougherty and KreatureKid on the Jungle of Darkness short film, and all the fun, cool shit that you guys are doing over there. Oh my god!
Thank you.
So many independent artists and filmmakers. They need a community, an audience to help support. It's absolutely amazing work, and
anything helps. You can even donate $1 on that Kickstarter. So it all helps. Everything is adding up. We're 75% there. We're halfway through the Kickstarter. We got 14 days left, and we're still chugging away. I'll be at Monsterpalooza handing out flyers and trying to spread the word. I'm doing as many avenues as I can to get the word out there, but just try to show people what we're capable of doing. And then just have fun, you know.
Right.
Everything was so negative and all the news is so terrible. I just want to do something that's fun and silly, and you know, everyone in the world wants to go to a jungle adventure, you know, and meet silly puppet characters and creatures and things. And I just trying to bring you on a journey to show us making a fun thing and then posting a fun thing, and you could buy a little character from that thing, and you know, and then we make another fun thing, you know.
Excellent. Excellent. I can't wait till the day comes when you're able to make your own feature film.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Hopefully, that'd be awesome.
I don't doubt that you'll get there. But we've got a bunch of folks, you know, popping in. So we've got. Oh, come on now. Maybe if we. There we go.
See some.
There we go.
Hello.
Yeah. Crashers saying hello, and then Brian over at Colorado Festival of Horror. Yeah, the interview that you did with him is up on his doyoulikeScaryMovies.com. So
that's awesome.
yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, if you want to go catch more with Adam and Brian, you know, pop over there, and Angela's back advocating to go visit your Kickstarter.
Thank you, Angela. Yes, please help with the Kickstarter.
Yeah, and she also saying, you know, keep up the fantastic filmmaking, Adam.
Thank you. I'm trying.
Yeah, Brian just popped back in. Yeah, great work, Adam. So
thank you, Brian.
Yeah, you've got a lot of fans out there and over here. So yeah, you know. Anything we can do to help and support you. I know I contributed, I think, earlier this week.
Ooh,
and then I encourage everybody out there to go and do the same thing. Bring a little bit extra magic into the world because, like you said, with all the news out there, we freaking need a lot of it right now.
Yep, we do. Just something fun.
Yeah, most definitely.
That's the whole point of movies, is an escape.
Yes. It's transportive. And it you know, brings communities together over cool things.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to do. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate your work and everything. And you know, Adam, you know, thanks for coming on the show, talking more about Jungle of Darkness. It sounds like an amazing project, and we can't wait to, you know, to see how it develops and you know, when it comes out too in the fall.
Thank you all. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, hang around for a few minutes after we sign off. But yeah, I want to thank everybody that tuned in on this Saturday, and you know, thanks for all your support, and of course to our sponsors. Let's see, let me, if I can scroll down there and start bringing up all my sponsor identities. So of course to Mutiny Information Cafe, if you're going to start a revolution, make sure you're caffeinated. And Hellfire Entertainment, you know, thanks for rebroadcasting us on your social media, and Groovy TV, and of course the Alien Donut Films to Bill and Angela, who's been chiming in. You know, thanks for all your support, and to our producers Stephen Santa Cruz and Amanda Armstrong, and of course everybody out there. Yeah, thanks for you know, tuning in. Make sure you go to Adam's Kickstarter and support you know, Jungle of Darkness, and bring that into existence.
Please,
Help
yeah.
Yeah, because you know, original independent artists and filmmakers, they need the support of the audience and community. It takes a village, damn it.
That's true. It absolutely does.
In this case, a jungle village. Oh, yeah. Everybody out there, be good, be kind, help each other out during these tough times. And remember, we love you. Stay spooky. We'll see you later.